There we go. Here we go. I'm live again. Yeah, yeah. Hey guys, what's up? It's Bella Vandala, and this is the Vandala Effect pilot episode number what the fuck ever. I call it a pilot episode because I don't have my set. I'm currently trying to monetize these accounts that you're watching me on and build a set and do this shit for real. So that's where I'm at. I suppose once I actually get to it, I'll have a set. I'll do my hair. I'll do my makeup. Maybe I'll even put on like nice clothes and act like an actual fucking journalist or some shit. But for right now, you're just getting a regular female on here talking shit. You could let me know what direction you want the show to move in. But as for right now, I guess we're just going to hop into business, right? So, what a fucked up time to be alive, right? I used to always say, what a fucked up time to be a citizen of the United States of America. But in all transparency, it's just a fucked up time to be alive. Like everything's fucked up. Oh, you look cute. Oh, thanks. Hey, shower. Where you at, kiddo? Right now, I'm in my basement. I'm cooling. You know what I'm saying? I'm living. What is this? Did I forget to put this out? I did. All right, cool. Whatever. So, for those of you who don't know, we're just going to go ahead and we're going to hop in. I had posted a video earlier that you can go ahead and watch. It has different clips and articles in it. It's about 11 minutes long. It's on YouTube. Hold on one second. I'm live. I'm going to have to call you back. Okay, love you. Bye. All right. Basically, yesterday, fucked up ass Israel decided to vote in favor of a solution of what to do with Palestine and Palestinian prisoners. They voted in favor of executing Palestinian prisoners. Okay. And for those of you who don't register the magnitude of it, these are civilians who are prisoners, not because they committed some crime, just simply because they are Muslim and they exist in Gaza. A lot of these are children. So they are going to be executing 10,000 prisoners. And for those of you who really just don't register the atrocity of this, Israel is the first state which has a death penalty for one race but not another since the Holocaust. That's real. This is ethnic cleansing, okay? And Iran came out in a video issuing an official statement that Israel and America are now trying to commit a genocide in Iran as well as Lebanon. So the significance of the war in Iran is it's not a war, it's an act of genocide, okay? The United States of America is not targeting military bases. They're not having soldiers fight in combat or ground invasions. They're not targeting fighter jets. They're targeting hospitals. They're targeting schools. They're targeting civilian buildings. They're targeting residential areas. They're targeting infrastructure that provides water and electricity to the Iranian and Lebanese population. Those are fucking war crimes. Those are fucking war crimes. We have the ICC, we have the Geneva Convention, we have the United Nations. Like, I've said this before, I'll say it again. I'm almost just screaming into the void. Your tax dollars do not go to social safety nets for you as a citizen because they go to funding fucking war crimes. Fucking war crimes. We are not at war with Iran. We are trying to commit a genocide, and Iran is not Palestine. They're clapping the fuck back, okay? And that's not an insult at Palestine as if they were weak or they didn't have it. A lot of Americans have demonized Hamas. But now when we look at the extent of destruction that you see in Gaza, when you see what they're doing to Lebanon, when you see what they're doing to Iran, you can kind of understand why Hamas existed in the first place. It's also come out in new developments, like everything else, that October 7th was orchestrated by the IDF. High-ranking officials in Israel have accused Netanyahu of false flagging October 7th, so he had a reason to initiate the genocide. 9/11 was completed by Israel. These aren't even conspiracies anymore. It's just the issue with the United States at present and the news is that so much is happening so fast that nobody can fucking keep up with it. Like nobody can keep up with it. Hold on, I got to post on my Facebook that I'm live. I completely forgot. And it's just it's to this critical point where it's like every single day it's breaking news, breaking news, breaking news. And I've said, this is psychological warfare. This is what they do to the American people so that we can't keep our wits about us. We can't keep up with it. How would you? Honest to gosh, how would you ever keep up with everything that's currently happening? But yes, September 11th was done by Israel. So was October 7th. Last time we went into Iraq and Afghanistan looking for weapons of mass destruction, this was again on behalf of Israel. Apparently, the different officials are coming out and saying that we are completely compromised. We are completely owned and operated by Israel. Live on YouTube. Right now, look at me. Look at me, all four of you guys. Look at me plugging shit. And the devastation and destruction that we've done to Gaza is probably one of the most disgusting things ever. But nonetheless, in recent developments, Iran has come out accusing the United States and Israel of trying to commit a genocide there. And in Lebanon had a population of 2% being displaced in the month of March alone. That's increased to 22%. 22% of Lebanon's population is now displaced because of the IDF ground efforts in Lebanon. They are committing a genocide. They are bombing churches. They are killing Christians. They just bombed the shrine of St. Peter, which is a significant religious shrine, not only to Christians, but also to Muslims. There's a lot of Islamophobia that would have you believe that Muslims hate Christians, when in fact they very much believed in Jesus as a prophet sent by God. They believed in his disciples, and this holy site of St. Peter was frequented by Muslims and Christians. Israel has also forbade Christians from participating in Palm Sunday rituals and mass services. They've closed churches to high-ranking officials in the Roman Catholic Church and in Orthodox Catholic churches. They are definitely now targeting Christians in the Holy Land. This is undoubtedly a diaspora for the Zionist agenda. And I don't call these people Jews anymore. I call them Jewish presenting Zionists, because they claim Judaism, but no version of God would have his chosen people commit genocide over land so Donald Trump can build on it, which kind of leads me to my next point. Israel has recently voted on what they call, these are not my words, what they call a resolution to Palestinian prisoners. So they will be executing within the next few days 10,000 Palestinian prisoners, majority of which are children. They are imprisoned simply for existing in Gaza, being Semites, and mainly being Muslim. I don't think that this is a religious crusade. I think it's a land grab. Okay. So we're going to see the violence increase in Gaza, in Lebanon, and in Iran at the hands of Israel and now American soldiers. We have 2,500 boots on the ground. Okay. And I don't know if you guys have seen some of this shit. This is probably like one of the most disgusting things I think I've fucking seen, was American soldiers like raging out. But you have to remember that these people's frontal lobe aren't even fucking developed. They're 18, 19 years old. There's a bunch of girls dancing around to a diss track called Fuck Iran. It's sickening, okay? It's sickening. The United States looks so fucking bad. But the biggest issue is that all of this is happening because I don't know how many of you guys remember the World Economic Summit that was held, where was it, like Norway, Finland, one of those neutral-ass Nordic countries that everybody fucking loves, okay? So there was a World Economic Summit held in Europe, and Jared Kushner, who is the son-in-law of Donald Trump, rolled out his plan for what Donald Trump is going to do with Gaza. So basically, the biggest con artist and the most failed real estate mogul in the United States, 6-time bankrupt, 6 failed casinos, a failed university, a 34-time convicted felon, a world-renowned pedophile. They're putting him in charge of the development. And the issue is they're asking for $50 billion. So when they went to the World Economic Summit, Jared Kushner rolled out Donald Trump's plan and was like, hey, we want you guys to give us $50 billion to do this. And the entire world met this proposal with disgust and disdain, because they know that a genocide is being committed in Gaza at present, and they're opposed to it, and they're sending flotillas and warships to escort them and yada, yada, yada. And basically the whole entire world has condemned the genocide in Gaza while doing fuck all to intervene, by the way, including American citizens who refuse to tax boycott because they're afraid of a penalty later on. Yeah, I can't make this shit up. That's my Catholic guilt being thrown at you. Stop paying your fucking taxes. Jesus fucking Christ. It doesn't even go to your health care. You wouldn't give your rent to a fucking serial killer. Rent is due, you know what? Instead, I'm going to give it to a serial killer because I think he needs duct tape and rope. I think it's more important he has the supplies he needs to kill members of my community than I pay my rent. Stop paying your fucking taxes. But nonetheless, this is a video I found. This is a video I found of Trump's plans for Gaza after they're done executing all the Palestinian prisoners. And now they're carpet bombing the tent cities. So essentially they bombed all of fucking Gaza. They took all Palestinian residents of Gaza and displaced them in tents along the Gaza Strip. But if you enter the beach to swim or fish, you get fucking shot. And this is what they want to do. It's called the Trump Gaza They're all in on this shit, bro. They want to turn it into a tourist attraction, and they keep saying that they want, different. They're anticipating that the investments to redevelop the Gaza Strip are going to come from European or Middle Eastern countries, when all of them had said no, they're not. So I just want American citizens who are currently watching this to understand that your tax dollars, which are expanding an ICE budget, which are going to concentration camps, which are funding the genocide in Palestine, and now America's attempting to commit a genocide in Iran and Lebanon, they're going to go to the development of Gaza afterwards. They're going to go to developing a tourist attraction. And who the fuck is going to go? And I understand that maybe our generation and maybe the next generation won't frequent them. But if by the grace of God, this failed businessman and con artist is actually able to develop the Gaza Strip, contrary to everything he's ever endeavored failing, you have to understand that generations are going to forget about this genocide. We genocided 77 million Native Americans to build the United States of America. We stole this land from them. And every single year, people travel far and wide to go to our national parks, to visit our cities. That's built on the graveyard of the genocided Indians. We had the transatlantic slave trade build the entire United States of America. That was just listed as the most grave crime against humanity that the world has ever seen. And people still travel far and wide to see a country built off the genocide of natives and the backs of slaves. So at some point, what's happening in Gaza is generationally going to be forgotten. They're going to forget that a genocide stole that land, and they're going to visit the tourist attractions. And this is what people don't understand. This is I was having a conversation with this Mexican guy the other day, and I mentioned that he's Mexican because he kept mentioning it to me, right? And he was basically telling me that anything he does isn't going to inflict any change he's going to see in his lifetime. And it's yeah, see, that's the problem with a lot of people is you lack foresight. You have to understand that if you're going to save the United States of America, or furthermore, the world, humanity, you're going to be watering a tree you're never going to get to eat fruit from. You're not going to enjoy the fruits of your labor. This is quite literally to save fucking humanity. All right. And people just don't fucking get that. And then he's going on to tell me, all types of shit justifying ICE. He's one of those self-hating Mexicans who's okay with selling out his fucking people, Latinos for Trump type shit. I swear to God, the only reason I didn't slap the fucking shit out of this dude while having a conversation with him was because I was at my best friend's birthday party. But I did get really pissed off afterwards and told her to never invite me anywhere that there are Trump supporters, because they tried to tell me normal people don't talk politics. This isn't politics. This is current events. We're past that, right? Don't invite me around Trump supporters because I am going to proudly make them feel uncomfortable. I'm going to pick a fight. I'm going to instigate it, and I'm going to tell them about themselves. And if they try to get rowdy with me, I'm going to slap the shit out of them because I'm 5'8" and built like a brick shit house. So what's good? Anyways, it's fucking disgusting. It's fucking disgusting what they're trying to do. But for those of you who don't know, Ben Grieve or whatever the fuck his name is, that dude in Israel, once they voted into legislation to legalize the execution of 10,000 Palestinian prisoners, he decided to celebrate by popping champagne at what's known as their government offices. Okay. So he's recorded doing this. He gets so champagne fucking drunk in his celebration of genocide, of legalizing genocide in his fucking country. He decides to go to the president of some Palestinian Protection Council, right? Dude wasn't even at home, but he gets shit-faced fucking drunk and starts trying to fight nobody. And the IDF had to intervene and calm him down. But this is like the level of people that we're dealing with, right? He celebrates being able to legally commit genocide in his country by getting champagne drunk and then makes a fool out of himself on national television. People don't forget. They just turn their back and act like nothing is happening. I mean, regardless, tomato, tomato, right? People come to the United States all the time. And you have to understand, like, for those of you watching this, what do you know about Chinese history? What do you know about Russian history? What do you know about the history of South Africa? Most people don't even know that Iran is Persia and it's a 6,000-year-old empire. Okay. You guys don't know 6,000 years worth of their history. It's not that people forget. It's not that people turn their back on it. It's that they live in other countries where this might not be taught to them, where it's not the primary focus. Okay. Just as of recently, we've developed this collective consciousness through internet connectivity where we can see things happening all across the world and formulate an opinion on them. And I know that the world is a fucked up place, but I can honestly tell you that one thing I've noticed by way of having access to humanity on the internet is that most people are good. And they don't like what's happening in Palestine, in the Sudan, in Congo, in Iran, in Lebanon, in all these different countries that are greatly suffering at the hands of American imperialism and Western colonization, right? So now there's a good chance that maybe the next generation or two might stand strong and not visit these tourist attractions that Trump develops in Gaza post executing the completion of the Palestinian genocide. But what a lot of people don't understand is that in no way, shape, or form does the United States or Israel plan on stopping at Palestine. They have not even finished the Palestinian genocide, and they're already spreading the genocide to Iran and Lebanon. That's not an exaggeration. Like what they're doing, like in war, you target military bases. In war, you take out warships and fighter jets and soldiers. America is not doing that. We're bombing hospitals and schools and residential buildings, and we're attacking infrastructure that's creating a famine. The entire world is suffering because of this war. You have places like Thailand, Australia, India, where else? There's tons of places that are going through a national fuel crisis. I played GTA one day and I came across this kid who was from Brazil. They asked me about Brazil. I knew nothing. They made fun of me. I knew everything about America and I knew nothing. Right. But that's precisely the point is that, yeah, they make fun of you. But if you ask them about American history, I'm pretty sure they don't know fuck all. Right. Or they know the very limited scope of it. Right. A lot of countries teach their own history prior to teaching world history. And when you're talking world history, there's like certain key points like Genghis Khan, like the Kingdom of Prussia, like the Holocaust, like certain Chinese dynasties. You know, there's certain things that pretty much everybody knows. But for the most part, when you're talking about tourism comes from all over the world and they're not invested in American history. People come to participate in America. Well, they used to. Now that we're on a genocide watch list and we have ICE here, people aren't coming here. Tourist revenue is down 40-50%. Our economy's in the fucking shitter. I could go on about that shit all fucking day. But most people who are traveling from other countries to visit or tourism aren't interested in the history of the country. They're interested in the tourist attractions. So make no mistake, there will be enough time between this tourist destination that they're going to build in Gaza and the actual genocide it took to get them there, where people will forget. And Donald Trump's family will remain millionaires. The winners write history, so we need to fucking win. This shit is actually fucking sick. This shit is fucking sick. And you have to understand that none of it is new. None of this is new. None of what the United States is doing is new. Iraq and Afghanistan didn't have weapons of mass destruction. We wanted to steal their oil. Venezuela didn't have a dictator. We wanted to steal their oil. And the crazy thing about it is we have enough science to back up reusable forms of energy. We can step away from oil. We could go to fucking solar power. We could have battery operated vehicles ran by solar power, but they choose not to do it because it is not profitable. They are willing to damage the only earth we all fucking share and all of humanity just to add to digital zeros in their fucking bank. It's not an exaggeration. Donald Trump has almost tripled his net worth. He is going to die probably within the next 6 to 8 weeks. Then we're going to get Barron Trump and Jared Kushner and Ivanka Trump and all these different people who are going to carry out his legacy of depraved greed. And they're going to continue to benefit from the things that he has done at present unless we take the United States of a bat. Your dollar will be proud to be white yet? Whoever said I was fucking proud to be white? Hey, I really like your Facebook post, by the way. How did you develop your political outlook? Just having a moral compass these days seems rare. Do you read a lot? Or, in all transparency, I was a huge fuck girl before all of this started. My social media platform was primarily geared towards rap music, poetry, like my talents. So when I was going live from the studio. I also write books too. I don't read a lot. I do have an extremely high IQ. So does my son. I actually do have ADHD, but not this ADHD that people self-diagnose. Like I have obsessive disorder where like I dissect topics and I just obsess over them and my brain is constantly calculating. And when you look around at the situation, like this is why, creatively speaking, I was so successful and why my platform took off. I can write my fucking ass off, right? But right now, my brain is subjected to the horror that is the reality of the United States of America. I was never this political. And I think that's probably what infuriates me more is when I'm having conversations with people and they're like, oh, well, we don't talk politics. Well, fuck you, you stupid bitch. Because I was not political. I was just telling my best friend the other day, prior to the United States of America going to hell in a handbasket, when did we ever have conversations about politics or economy? She's like, never. Right, because it's something I kept my eye on and it's something I went to school for and I'm very interested in, but there wasn't much shaking, right? The conspiracies were very well hid. A lot of the inner workings and agenda weren't. Now that the full mask is off, if you're not talking about this, you have to be retarded. And I don't care if you guys cancel me for using that because by textbook definition, that is fucking retarded. And I get that propaganda and goy-slop and poisoning us and psychological warfare, mental exhaustion, burnout, all of these things are very fucking real. But like, where is people's passion? Where is your fire? It's not even about morality. We could throw out the conversation of morality and ethics and just simply talk fucking budgeting. Even a Republican who's like some warmongering, KKK loving, racist, pedophile fucktwat can agree. Like there's no conversation you can have where you're like, yeah, I don't want my money to go to my home. Taxation without representation does not require morality to be offensive, right? If I pay for something, I should get that. And what citizens of the United States of America are not processing at present, and this is the most infuriating thing about it, is that you are paying for a service that you are not receiving. The entire concept of a society as a fundamental whole is to collectively pull together to make life easier on everybody else. Within a society, everybody has a different role that makes life easier, okay? If you don't like society, then you need to go live in remote butt fuck Egypt. Go fucking homestead in the middle of fucking nowhere. But if you live in society, whether it's rural, I love you, baby, bye. Whether it's rural, suburban, or urban for that matter, you are a contributing member to society, whether you want to be or not. And within society, if you are paying taxes, which most people are involuntarily, your income tax automatically debited, your property tax is rolled into your mortgage, your sales tax is not negotiable at the fucking register. You are involuntarily paying taxes that prove no benefit to you. You are paying for a service that you are not receiving. Would you keep paying your cable bill if your cable never worked, not once? We're not talking about the shit cuts in and out. We're not talking about poor quality. We're talking about you are flat out not receiving these services. If you go to a restaurant and you order a burger and that burger never arrives, are you paying for it? No. You go through a drive-through, you pay them, you go to the next window, you get your food. In the United States of America, as a taxpayer, you're going to a drive-through, you're paying for your food, you drive it to the next window, they're saying, fuck you, I'm going to rape your kids and shoot them in school. Have a nice day. And y'all are just like, cool. Cool. That is the equivalent. Why the fuck is anybody paying taxes? Why the fuck are people even going to work? Do you guys understand that the United States dollar has completely fucking collapsed? Good afternoon. Hello, what's up? Hi, if you guys are just tuning in, what's up? We've been going at it for a while now. We're just chopping it up. And I guess my biggest point is I've been talking about the tax boycott and the general strike, and people are like, well, I might lose my job. Why do you fucking care at this point? Do you guys understand a food shortage is coming? Let's talk trickle-down economics. Let's talk about what's to come. Do you know that 800,000 acres of cattle grazing land were just burnt to shit in fucking Nebraska? Do you know what that means for beef in the United States? It's going to skyrocket and there's going to be a fucking shortage. What you find is probably going to have fucking E. coli too. But since they went ahead and defunded the Center for Disease Control and the FDA, you're not going to know. You're just going to suffer. Okay. So that right there is one thing. And then, oh, you know what? I don't eat meat. Fucking fantastic. What do you eat? Fruits and vegetables? That's coming on a shortage. All of the fertilizer that American farmers procure comes through the Strait of Hormuz, which is currently fucking closed. Right now is planting season. There is no end in sight. Even if they decided, hey, guess what? I'm going to ship that fertilizer out. The window is closed. Half their crops are not getting planted. There is going to be a food shortage on produce. And what you do have access to is going to be ridiculously fucking expensive. Your fruits, your vegetables, and your beef are about to increase. And anything that doesn't increase on the account of a shortage is going to increase because your food is not farmed locally. It is shipped to you after being poisoned with preservatives, pesticides, hormones, red dye, yellow dye, carcinogens, high fructose corn syrup, antibiotics, and then it's put on a fucking shelf. It's your goy slop. All of that is intentionally poisoned so that you become dependent upon big pharma, right? So even the food that you do still have access to is going to increase because first it's created, then it's poisoned, then it's stored, then it's shipped. Shipping comes through what? Freight, train, plane. What do you need to run those? You need fucking fuel. Guess what else isn't going through the Strait of Hormuz? 20% of the world's oil goes through there. Americans aren't drilling. Mexico don't fuck with us. Canada don't fuck with us due to the tariff war. We're no longer getting crude oil from them. I don't know where Americans see this going. I don't know what it takes for Americans to be like, yeah, you know what? Fuck this shit. Okay. Because the reality is it's not a matter of if you're going to suffer. It's a matter of how you're going to suffer. You could suffer on your own terms. You could participate in the tax boycott and the general strike. You could buckle down and only buy toilet paper and ramen noodles and say, fuck going to work, fuck going to school. I'm not traveling. I'm not spending. I'm not going to a restaurant. I'm not showing up to work. I'm buying only fucking essentials. And that would literally collapse the entire fucking system. United States is going on a downward spiral. The United States is at the bottom of that spiral. We've already spiraled. It's done. People don't realize that ICE could be committing genocides right now as we speak, and you don't know. Do you know how many ICE detention centers have been erected? Do you know why TSA isn't being paid? Can anybody in my comments tell me in one or two sentences why TSA isn't being paid? Anybody know? I'll wait. TSA wasn't being paid because they couldn't reach a resolution on the bill. The bill was written, every single bit of government funding has to be approved through Congress. Congress approves everything, right? Okay, so TSA budget went up in front of Congress, but it's the same budget that also funded the National Guard and FEMA, okay? The Republicans would not agree to the budget that would fund FEMA, the National Guard, and TSA unless we agreed to further fund ICE. When the big, beautiful bill went through, giving billionaires tax breaks and cutting out Medicaid and food stamps, that's real. That's already passed, okay? That gave ICE $178 billion. So while billionaires got tax breaks, okay, and ICE got $178 billion, the poorest and most vulnerable people in the United States of America lost access to food and healthcare assistance. That happened, okay? And to quantify $178 billion, ICE now has a larger budget than the Marine Corps. The Marine Corps is an active duty deployed to Iran to do a boot on the ground invasion of the mountainous terrain in Iran. And they have a smaller budget than ICE does. All we keep talking about is this war in Iran. But people don't understand about the war that is already here in the United States of America, okay? ICE concentration camps, and I call them concentration camps because a detention center requires due process. I'm going to break this down to you guys like you're fucking 5 years old. Buckle your fucking tits up. Okay, so the Enemies Aliens Act that was presented on Trump's inauguration, the executive order he signed, that eliminated due process. Due process is I'm arrested and I'm innocent until proven guilty. Every single person on American soil is entitled to due process, legal or illegal. It is a human right. It is a requirement to participate in the fucking world, okay? Enemies Aliens Act eliminated due process. So now they don't need a warrant. They don't need cause. They don't need anything. They can simply detain you if they assume that you are an enemy. That's why at Trump's inauguration, he said, I'm declaring war against the cartels, because this is a blanket statement declaring war against all of Latin America. Okay. So if he suspects that you're a cartel member, without due process, they can indefinitely detain you. When you don't have due process, you don't have a sentence that you're serving, you're not being deported. That is a concentration camp. That is a death camp. You are there until you die or they kill you. A concentration camp. I'm not using that word to be dramatic or theatrical. I am using that word because it is a textbook definition of what is happening. So the president of the United States gets inaugurated, and in his inauguration speech, he says, I'm declaring war on Latin American cartels, and I'm enacting the Enemies Aliens Act, which basically means if you come from a country that we are actively in war with and we suspect you're an enemy, we have the ability to indefinitely detain you without due process, okay? Then he turns around and he enacts the big, beautiful bill. And the big, beautiful bill gives ICE $178 billion, which is a larger budget than the United States Marine Corps. So this is where we're at, okay? You have concentration camps in the United States of America that have no oversight board. Nobody is allowed to go in and see what is happening in these concentration camps. We have no idea, but what we do know is that people are coming up dead. Citizens that they improperly detained are released. There was the man in New York who was blind. They released him in the midst of the worst snowstorm New York had, and he found froze to death miles away from his home. They did the same thing to another disabled children Teenagers are coming up pregnant in ICE detention centers. They're going in not pregnant and they're coming out pregnant. And let me be clear that the women and men are separated. They are being raped by ICE agents. That is a concentration camp. Americans have a genocide happening on American soil, but you don't know. Your media is currently owned by Zionists. They bought CNN. They bought Fox News. They bought TikTok. Why am I banned on TikTok? Because I said fuck Zionism and fuck Israel. 550,000 followers gone in 2 sentences. And honestly, I don't give a fuck, because the same AI surveillance company that provides the AI surveillance to the IDF and ICE agents is owned by the jagbag who owns fucking TikTok. We're heading towards an AI surveillance state. They are buying up abandoned Walmarts in the fucking South. They're converting abandoned Walmarts into ICE detention centers. It's not that this is going to happen. It's that this is happening. And the most alarming part about this is there's an open book test for American citizens, and they're still failing. Project 26, Project Zephyr, Project Esther, they all talk about the eradicating the United States of 100 million citizens. Not immigrants, not illegal immigrants, not brown people, citizens. They are funding, and they have the infrastructure, the funding, and the legal process in place to commit a genocide on American soil. They committed a genocide in Palestine. They're committing a genocide in Lebanon and Iran. And Americans genuinely believe it could never happen here, because America, a 250-year-old country that already genocided the natives, that committed the worst atrocity in the history of the world, being the transatlantic slave trade. Do you understand that so many African slaves died, they can't even count it? We could be in the billions. The billions. We don't know how that was a 400-year-long genocide. I don't care what whitewashed version of slavery you've been fucking digesting. Do you know that they used to make furniture out of slave skin? That when female slaves would die or be murdered, they would boil their lard and turn it into a skin treatment that white women would use. You know what a fucking pickaninny is? A pickaninny is when they rip a baby away from a mother and use it as alligator bait in front of her. They used to make slaves warm their feet at night like it was a fucking cat sleeping on their feet. They used to rape the biggest slave in front of everybody. White men used to rape the biggest black man in front of everybody. Slavery wasn't just the enslavement of people. It wasn't just free labor and poor working conditions. It was a fucking genocide. The fact that Americans know that this land was stolen from a genocide and built off a genocide, and currently they were exploiting illegal immigrant labor to maintain capitalism post-Emancipation Proclamation, and y'all genuinely fucking believe a genocide could never happen here. How? Make this make sense to me. Make this make sense to me, how you think that your white skin and your American citizenship is going to stop you from, at bare minimum, witnessing the genocide of the people you love. You really think that when it arrives here, you're not going to take any losses? That's what we're made to believe, right? Let me read some comments. I'll say something negative about Israel every day. I'm not a Zionist and I have not been banned. Oh yeah, Facebook is hella fucking different. You know what's fucking crazy too? I could say whatever the fuck I want on Facebook, okay? But prior to this, when TikTok was owned by China and Facebook is still owned by Zuckerberg, Facebook was really strict, and so was the China. Like, community standards were more about decency and anti-bullying. Now, since Trump and Oracle have bought TikTok, okay, they appointed a former IDF soldier as the head of anti-hate speech. It is a pro-Zionist website right now. A former IDF soldier, a human being who participated in genocide, is responsible for monitoring anti-hate speech in the United States of America. People do not understand how much Zionism controls the United States of America. Let's talk about your Roth or your 401k. How many of you guys have a privatized retirement plan? I have a Roth through my company. I've lost $6,000 in the past week. Do you guys know why? Which is the 12-minute video. So the 12-minute video, let me pull this up, is a video I had to screen record off of Substack it was the genocide through a doctor's eyes. And this is what it looks like. That's the bookmark of it. Okay. It's about 11 to 12-minute video. It is an extremely graphic content warning. And it is what the Gaza genocide looks like through the eyes of a doctor trying to save people. It is one of the most disturbing and disgusting things you will ever watch in your life. But I think it should be mandatory that every American taxpayer watches this video so you know full and well where your money is going. Your money is going to fund a genocide halfway across the world and bring one to American soil. I don't know how else to tell you. And here's the thing, like ever since all of this started, okay, ever since Trump got elected back in 2016, everybody thought that I was over exaggerating when I said that he was a racist, when I said that he was hateful, when I said that he would be the downfall of the United States of America. I have been calling everything from day fucking one and nobody fucking listens to me. They tell me I'm dramatic. Or like, okay, here's a perfect example, right? How many of you guys saw the video I made about the increased threat of nuclear war? So I made one a few weeks ago, and that was basically when the United States of America moved a warship to the Middle East. And this warship is a mobile command center for nuclear warfare, okay? So in order for them to launch a nuclear bomb, this warship has to be in relative proximity to where they intend on bombing. It holds the launch codes to launch the nuclear weapon, which designates where the missile is going. Okay. So the United States moves a warship over there, and Israel issues a 10-mile radius evacuation for the largest uranium plants in Iran. Fucking it up. You guys know what I'm talking about. The shit that you use to build nuclear fucking weapons, okay? So they launch a 10-mile, they announce a 10-mile radius evacuation of this Iranian site, which is where they're building nuclear weapons, okay? So this is like, oh shit, they're going to drop a nuclear. That is an evacuation order that you typically offer for nuclear fallout. So we're like, fuck, they moved the warship. They're threatening this. So we know that the United States of America and Israel keep threatening nuclear warfare against Iran. Okay. Now, the United Nations' job is to deter nuclear warfare. And that's what they've been attempting to do this whole time. The United Nations basically moved away from trying to deter nuclear warfare to prepare for it. So the United Nations registers that this threat is so very real that they need to now prepare for the fallout of it. They're past trying to deter it. They've looked at our senile pedophile president who shits himself on national television and is genocidal maniac of a war-bestie Netanyahu. And they're like, yeah, I don't think there's anything we can say to these people to stop them from initiating a nuclear war. I think we just have to transition into preparing for it. So Mohammed Safa goes and he's like, you know what? I fucking resign. I don't want to be a part of it. This shit is sick. He issues an official fucking press statement that the threat of nuclear warfare is becoming imminent. So I go and I make another video updating people because this is where we are at. And everybody, oh, it's never going to happen. You said it's not going to happen tomorrow. Blah, blah. Like, listen, bitch, I didn't give you a motherfucking timeline. And I don't know if it is or it isn't going to happen. Motherfuckers don't know the goddamn definition of the word fucking threat. It is a threat. If somebody threatens to beat your ass, that doesn't mean that it's going to happen. But if they show up to your house with brass fucking knuckles and 8 other people, maybe it's a threat you should take seriously. Maybe you should start preparing for said fucking threat. I'm not saying they're going to kick in your door and beat your ass. I'm saying they're outside your crib with brass knuckles. I keep giving you guys these real life examples because Americans really think that none of this shit can happen to them. And it's fucking happening. Concentration camps are going up on American on American soil. American tax dollars aren't going to social safety nets. You're living in fucking poverty, eating goy slop so they can commit a genocide to grab a bunch of land that they're going to fail at rebuilding. When has Donald Trump had one successful project? His university failed. 6 casinos failed. All of his businesses bankrupt. He is 6-time bankrupt, 34-time convicted felon, and a world-renowned fucking pedophile. Why are we land grabbing and committing genocide to hand it off to the most incompetent con artist the world has ever seen? He's 81 years old. He's loose booty. He shits himself on national fucking television. Look at the faces of the people in the backgrounds behind him during any press conference. The man can't hold his bowels, and you want to know why? Because he was fucking impaled with a tent pole at Epstein Island while trying to rape a child. Even when he was filming The Apprentice, they used to make fun of him, calling him Diaper Donnie. They used to make jokes about the diaper bricks. It couldn't be more fucked if we tried. And I mean, into the void, and I've been telling you guys, okay, what is the end result? What is the purpose? Why are you still paying taxes? Why are you still going to work? Why are you still buying goy slop? Why? Give me one good reason why you won't participate in the tax boycott. Throw it at me. I want to hear it. Anybody? Okay, there's no point. Why won't you participate in the general strike? Anybody? I'm already joining the boycott. Oh, shit. Oh, shit. Oh, shit. Who else is participating in the tax boycott? I'm exempt, and I'm never paying taxes, and I'm never filing taxes again. Also, just so you guys know, if you're reluctant to participate in the tax boycott, you have 3 years, 3 calendar years to file your taxes. That means that I have until April 15th of 2029 to file my 2025 taxes, okay? He'll be out of office by then. Hopefully everything will be restored. I'm tax exempt, and I'm going to be tax exempt. And also, just so you know, the absolute worst case scenario of not paying taxes is not jail time. You are not a billionaire evading taxes, okay? This is not that. You'll get a letter saying that you owe this much money and you have a certain amount of time to pay it. And if you can't pay it, then they garnish your disposable income up to 15%. What is your disposable income? That's after taxes, health insurance, retirement, and everything else has been taken out. That is your take-home pay, and it caps at a 15% wage garnishment. So the absolute worst case scenario of you going tax boycott is 4 or 5 years from now, you get a 15% wage garnishment. You can tell your employer to not deduct federal taxes. Just say, exactly. And you don't even need to be an accountant to know that. That's just general. I will tell people that you can go exempt, and I don't know how. Every single job you've ever had, you've completed a fucking W-4. You don't know how. You don't know how to fill out a fucking W-4. Every single job you've ever had, it's either a 1099 or a W-4. Just fucking select exempt. Did you know that the ridiculous by Ben Gvir after Israel passed that genocide bill? How disgusting. I was so pissed. Oh yeah, I've actually got footage of it.
What the fuck? Y'all, this is Ben Gvir, Ben with his mama's hips, yesterday after the Knesset basically approved that bill or that law that would allow them to execute upwards of 10,000 Palestinians all at one time, basically. So it's this crazy law that they have, that they were pushing for damn near a year to execute over 10,000 Palestinians that are being held within inside of those prisons. Now, word on the curb is Ben and his entire party are losing every single initiative that they had, including what they were doing outside of Al-Aqsa Mosque. So they desperately needed that win yesterday when they received that law that was approved by the Israeli Knesset, that in which Benjamin Netanyahu himself stopped all of his plans just to show up and to vote for this law to be passed himself. Now, shortly after this law was approved by the Israeli Knesset, Ben, in the video of it being approved by the Knesset, Ben and the people that are his rollies, long story short, were attempting to open this bottle of champagne inside of the Knesset courtroom or on the floor, and he was stopped from doing that, in which they were seen just outside of the room opening up several bottles of champagne, not even full bottles, might I add, getting toasted and litty on these bottles of champagne, which ultimately happened hours before he
I want to
decided.
say this real quick. This girl has the most up-to-date information on the Iranian conflict because she follows a lot of WhatsApp and Telegram's account from people in the Middle East. So she's getting news from different sources on both sides of the war, whether it be Israel, Al Jazeera, Iran, Lebanon, so on and so forth. I can honestly say that she's probably one of the most credible sources, but nonetheless, let's get back to the video. Her I can't remember her fucking name. What is it? There's something. I'm almost, my eyes are bad. You can see her
decided to go and try to storm the office of the Palestinian Authority, the president of the Palestinian Authority. I believe his name is his last name's Abbas, Mahmoud Abbas, and Israeli forces stopped him from doing that. Now, in a drunken rage, he attempted to go assault the Palestinian Authority president in the middle of the night yesterday, which, by the way, he wasn't even there. But let me go ahead and show you, because it's better if you see it in person rather than me explain it. So let's go ahead and roll that beautiful bean footage. Outside, looking foolish.
The IDF soldier stopping Ben Gvir in a drunken rage.
Get your ass up. What the hell is he doing all over the ground?
It's funny, but it's not funny because you just got a legislative win to execute 10,000 Palestinians, and now you want to go and bully another one. When I tell you that these people are sick, and this is something that I want to say, okay, because I have noticed a lot of anti-Semitic propaganda currently circulating American social media. All right. And I get that it's really hard to not hate Jews as a whole, but these people are not Jewish. They're Jewish presenting. That's it. That's all. They worship Baal. Do you guys understand that, like, if we're talking like religious theology, if we're talking religious texts, okay, Jews themselves believe that they were exiled from the Holy Land because they were not following God's orders. They were worshiping false deities such as Baal. They were participating in cannibalism, pedophilia, and blood sacrifices. And God came down and was like, yo, Babylonians, go fuck them up. And they were exiled from the Holy Land, okay? And that is why Jews do not live in the Holy Land anymore. And then Jesus came about, and he was the Messiah that they were waiting for, right? Like, let's just talk theology for a second. Please bear with me, because even if you're not Christian, even if you're not Muslim, even if you're not Jewish, it's very important that you know this. And the reason being, you don't have to believe in religion to understand that the enemy does, or it is a tool they are using to reach people who do and manipulate them into their evil doing. That's why this is so important. Often when I talk about faith and I hop on my soapbox and I start explaining things to you guys, you're immediately offended as if I'm trying to fucking convert you. I'm trying to educate you on how we fucking got here and how dark and fucked up this shit is. Because at present, high-ranking military officials are telling American soldiers that this is an end of times war, that this is the apocalypse, that this is God's will. And that tracks, because the Secretary of Defense, or the Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth, thinks he's a Christian crusader. That tattoo on his chest is from the Christian Crusades, which attacked Muslims, okay? That was a war between Christians and Muslims, all right? He is infamously known for separating himself from the National Guard and then going back to just scream out racial slurs against Islam, okay? That is the Secretary of War at present. He wrote a book on basically reinitiating a Christian crusade and hating Muslims. So let's talk theology for just a moment, not so that I can convert you, not so that you can become a believer, but so you can understand the weapons formed against you and how they're fucking prospering. This entire shit that's happening right now is because Israel thinks that they're bringing about the Messiah. And when you talk about bringing about the Messiah and Christian Zionism in the United States, MAGA Christians, Christian nationalists, when I break this down to you, you're going to understand how fucking ridiculous this is. So first and foremost, Jews were exiled from the Holy Land by God, his motherfucking self. That is their belief system because they worshipped Baal and they were participating in cannibalism, blood sacrifices, and pedophilia. This was not God's will, so he exiled them from the land and said that they are never to return, that the only time they can return to the Holy Land is when the Messiah comes to collect them. Hold on. At the end of times, the Messiah will return and collect them, that they're to be scattered amongst the Gentile until the Messiah returns. Okay. So that is Jewish theology. Now, once upon a time, the Jews returned to, they can only return to the Holy Land with the Messiah. So they believe that there's three things you need to do to bring about the Messiah. That A, the Jews need to return to the Holy Land. And this goes back to the Al-Aqsa Mosque. That B, they have to build the third temple in Jerusalem. And that C, they have to sacrifice a clean red heifer. They procured a red heifer, which is just a red cow with no marks on it. It has to be unscathed, from Texas, oddly enough. Okay. They believe that the Jews have returned to the Holy Land. But in fact, you have to understand that these Jews in the Holy Land aren't Jews. They're Ashkenazi Jews. Okay. They're Europeans. They're converts. That's the difference between Jews and Jewish. Jew is a Semite. They're from the Holy Land. Jewish is a Jewish convert, okay? There is a difference. Words have definitions and fucking meaning. So these Jewish converts are returning to the Holy Land and claiming, oh, the Jews returned to the Holy Land. We've sacrificed the red heifer. Now we got to build the third temple. The third temple needs to be built where the Al-Aqsa Mosque is. And the Al-Aqsa Mosque is the second most important mosque in Islam. This would start a fucking war. That started a fucking war. What do we mean? Okay. What are we talking about here? So they want to bring about the Messiah. And the crazy part about this is all of this was already done. Jews returned to the Holy Land. Okay. After being exiled, they returned to the fucking Holy Land. They sacrificed the red heifer. They built the third temple shortly after Jesus was born. You know how they talk about the star in the sky that the three kings saw to know that Jesus was born in Bethlehem, and these weren't even Christians or Jews, but they traveled to Bethlehem to bring gifts to Jesus. What do they call that star? You guys know what the fuck I'm talking about, okay? Right. Anyways, okay. So this already happened, and then Jesus was born. And then Jesus grows up and he's like, hey, what's up? I'm your Messiah. I'm here to save you guys. But the idea of the Messiah that the Jews had was that he would come and save them from the Roman occupation. So right now, what's happening in the United States, where we have taxation without representation, where the people are being treated extremely poorly, it was a very similar thing in the Holy Land, where Romans had occupied what's Israel, Palestine. I don't know what to call it anymore. Fuck, right? They occupied the Holy Land and they were just bleeding the Jews dry. They were just treating them like shit, okay? And it was horrible. And they thought that Jesus was going to be some war general, that the Messiah would be a war general to free them from the occupation that is Rome. But do you really think that God gives a chicken fried fuck about human politics? No. So when Jesus came and he's like, no, I'm here to free your soul. I'm here to save you. I'm a sword that divides, yada, yada, yada. When his rhetoric wasn't rise up, kill, 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 but love, 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 heal, feed, save, yada, yada, yada. They're like, you're not our fucking Messiah. And then they enlisted the Roman soldiers to fucking crucify him. And now, after already committing these three acts to bring about the Messiah, getting the Messiah and rejecting the Messiah, they're now doing it again. And this is where this theology and this ideology that Christians and Muslims are going to unite comes from. Christians and Muslims both believe that Jesus was sent by God. And they believe that when God returns, Jesus will be with him. The same way that Christians believe the world is going to end, so do Islams. So do Muslims. And also Islam believes in the saints. They celebrate St. Peter, not the saints, the disciples. I'm sorry. We call them saints, but they believe in Jesus' disciples and his followers. And this is where a lot of this conflict is coming from. And again, you don't have to believe to understand that this is what is creating a war that is now affecting the United States. One thing I used to always say is there's always war in the Middle East. There's been a war since the beginning of time. It's the Holy Land, right? But it's now spilled over into the United States of America. You're a free-range tax slave because of religion. So whether you believe in it or not, it is condemning your existence. It is important to know about these things because this theology is affecting your everyday life. It's creating political extremists who do mass and school shootings. It's insane. You are a free-range tax slave to a religious agenda. And I don't even really think that these people believe in religion. I think it is a tool that they use to manipulate the masses. It's just where we're at, you know? Chicken fried fuck. You're not my territory. Okay, 3 men traveled to see if there was a kid. Okay, bro. All right, whatever. You just got a lot of snide ass comments, and that's cool. Okay. Anyways, this live is going over an hour, and I always try to keep them under an hour. But I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna hop off. I'm currently building my set. I've got the equipment. I've got the furniture being delivered. I just have to paint and do some other things. If you guys want to donate to the podcast, all of my paint information is in my Facebook. You can follow me on Facebook, but my Cash App is Bella MF Vandala. And you guys can see how Vandal is spelled Vandala. It's just Vandal with an extra A. Bella Vandala means beautiful Vandal. So Bella MF Vandala is my cash tag. My Venmo is Bella_Vandela, and my PayPal is bellavandela@gmail.com. I'm taking all donations. If you can't donate, then just go on a watch spree and watch a bunch of shit because I need to get enough watch hours to monetize my YouTube. And once I do that shit, baby, I'm in the game, okay? But the overall goal is to do this, to just go live, to talk to you guys, to share information, to report, and hopefully to start traveling with my reporting. But other than that, I got to go because I got to get my fat ass to the gym. Like I'm getting a little chunky. You know what I'm saying? Like this is looking a little like, anyone got any cheese? Sorry. Okay. That was whatever. I just totally showed you guys my age with that reference. Anyways, I love you guys for tuning in. Please go and follow my Substack and subscribe. Follow my YouTube and subscribe. I've got a new TikTok called Vandala Effect. That's the name of the podcast. Follow me on Facebook, follow me everywhere because I'm constantly getting banned. I talk about shit and you guys would be like, oh my God, you're wrong. You're fear mongering. You're scared. And then why are they trying to silence me? Why is the owned and controlled media in the United States trying to silence me? Yeah. Okay. Until next time, guys, I will see you later. And thank you so much for tuning in. Have a great day. I love you. Okay. Bye.